See some heartwarming animal rescue stories and meet a very special man who gave up sailing around the world to help people and to help the animals, and who inspired me to chase even harder my dream of bringing veterinary care to animals and carers who struggle to access veterinary services.
You have a Doggyverse there.
We've just taken a bright green tuk-tuk through all the craziness and a few cows and dogs and people in scooters to the Doggyverse vet clinic. Paulo tells his story about how he gave up single-handed sailing around the world in his yacht to settling on Coron, a tiny island in the Philippines.
I was sailing around the world. I end up here by accident. So because of course sailing around the world, it's a nice place.
Yes.
You meet so many different people, different cultures. No? And I had already my sailboat. I jump on the sailboat, single hand, sailing around the world. Yes. And this was amazing when I arrived also at Vanuatu, Salomon, Kiribati, Tuvalu. And in all these places, of course, I've been giving food and medicine to a bunch of dogs, a bunch of cats. I remember so many times go on shore at 6 a.m. in the morning to give the antibiotics because I have to give 2 times a day.
But the point is, after he sailed on, their life goes back to how it was before. Paulo never kept a pet on board. Quarantine in countries like New Zealand and Australia is exceptionally difficult, even for cats and dogs who are live-aboard sailors.
I never got honestly animals on board because some countries, also New Zealand, Australia. But honestly, I regret it now because when I started rescuing the first, they were on the boat with me and they gave me so much.
Yes, Paulo realised how much love and affection having a pet on board can give you. But as he sailed from country to country, he stopped at a very special place and never left. And that place is Coron Island in the Philippines.
And the fact that I stop in a country, it's a big change, but allow me at least to do something.
Yes.
So now my life changed, but probably the best side of it is the possibility to have. This is something that makes me also more happy.
Paulo decided to build himself a houseboat so that he could live on it when he was not sailing. Friends and family loved it so much they kept asking to stay. And so, Paolyn Houseboats was born. After getting to know the leaders from the local Tagbuana tribe, Paulo realised that the big problem was that the young people could not find employment. They had no opportunity to study and they couldn't find jobs. So Paulo said, okay, maybe they can help me on the houseboat as a bit of a project.
So I employ almost only from the tribe that I never worked before and didn't study. So it's like to have 200 kids.
The project grew until today, when the thriving business is no longer a hobby. From the boat captains to the restaurant staff, Paolyn Houseboats employs people from many families from the tribe.
Oh la la, no, amore.
Paulo loves his cats, and staying in one place gives him the opportunity to help the animals as well as the people. This wee kitten had a terrible eye infection when she was rescued, but with love and treatment, look at Tigrina now.
This one is Zeus, but when we found him, he had the eye almost out.
His sister was the same, so Paulo brought vets from Manila to help.
To him, he didn't need a surgery, but unfortunately she died. She didn't make it. It was so sad for 1 week when she died, but he's super sweet. And now he doesn't see from the eye, I guess, but at least the eye went back inside.
Is there a vet on Coron or? On Coron or the nearby Basuanga Island, there are no veterinary services for cats and dogs, not even for neutering or for emergencies. The nearest veterinary clinic for pets is 4 hours away by ferry.
2 nights veterinary from Manila. They were as guests.
Yeah.
So they came here as guests, and
Yeah.
we started talking. They say they were both veterinary, so we keep in contact actually.
Luckily, Paulo has support from these vets, even though they are 3 hours flight away in Manila.
So they came here, they are super nice and they love animals, so that's why they still assist us, you know.
And even with the support of these veterinarians when they visit, they can only help a few animals.
Because also when they came here, they stay here three days, and we set up one houseboat on a surgery room, and we did as many as possible, but we could not do. Now here we have only 10 cats. I sleep with all of them on my bed. And my fiancée, she's not in the bed anymore.
There's no room.
No room for her. But still, see, for example, now a problem because I have the new ones. I have 1 boy and 3 girls. They are not. So we keep an eye, but you cannot. So, but if I wanted now, I cannot have a surgery.
Without desexing or neutering the strays and the owned animals, they will all continue to breed, adding to the hundreds already unwanted and unloved on the streets without nutrition and treatment for their illnesses. Veterinary care is desperately needed on Coron. Paulo's heart project is the shelter he built near Coron town.
Yeah. What is it?
It's a cat house.
A cat house.
Paulo and April's rescue centre. He spent 2 months with 80 people constructing a cattery and kennels with space for the animals to run and play while they are fed and cared for. Very happy. And a green light. He's like a husky.
Hello. What's your name?
The locals here, the majority is super poor.
Yes.
So very hard for them. Actually, when I find some dogs sick or cats sick, they have an owner that loves them, what I do, and they want to pay the medicine, also I buy the biscuits, and I prefer to stay with them, so I can have a little bit bigger impact.
But unless there is an adoption program, the shelter becomes full and you can't help any more animals.
But you know, my problem is also I don't have an adoption program, and this limit also my possibility. The rich people are very few, and unfortunately, the rich people here they want the race, they want the breed, they want the. And many foreigners they would like to adopt, but first of all you need you call the vaccination of the vaccination passport, and also it's a problem, for example, to fly.
It is almost impossible to find an airline that will allow animals to travel by air within the Philippines, even in cargo.
I had 2 cats, they were very sick, I wanted to fly them to Manila, and the company didn't allow me. I buy a seat for them, it's not a problem now, they didn't allow me, and at the end the only way was to rent a seaplane. So I rent a seaplane to go to Puerto to bring these cats, and finally before the seaplane arrived they died. But the international adoption would be the only way, so I need to study a little bit this, to develop, find contacts, but I need time. So every day it's emergency. No, so I tried to say, okay, let's do what is really needed now. No, so okay, it was needed to be there. It was needed to give the food. It was needed to give the medicine. It needed to do the surgery.
Yes.
But I need also to look more forward, and the adoption it would be there. Just between our guests, so many guests also 2 days ago was two girls and they wanted to take her. I put in my bag. And what I like also about our place, that most of the guests that we have, of course, they love the nature because we are in the middle of the nature, and also they love animals. No?
Paulo saw a sick dog that had been kicked out on the streets, and so he decided to rescue him. This is Pinky before he was treated for mange.
They opened one veterinary, not that one, another one. Super expensive. I think I spent $350 US dollars. Okay, to treat him because we kept them there for 1 week. They put the flea bow and all the medicine and everything.
And here is Pinky afterwards. What a transformation.
This they were actually in town. They think also I'm a little bit crazy because many times was going around the market. And there are some ladies, they sleep in the market and they sleep with some cats. No? But cats sick. So that's why also I was going there twice a day with all the antibiotics and take buy the food, buy the fish, cut all the fish, and give directly the fish and give it. So a lot of people then look at me a little bit like, this guy is not so normal. No? And
Graham talks about how it's hard for the local family to buy medicine for their pets when the cost is the same cost in New Zealand or Western countries.
I understand sometimes Filipino, it's most of them are really poor. Also,
How does the local family buy medicine for their pets when the cost is the same price as you pay in New Zealand? They need to put some rice on their table, and the cost of medicine is 10, 20 times the cost of their food.
And consider that they cannot afford most of the time to buy the medicine for their own kids. So their kids here still dying because the parents cannot afford. And my best friend, she told me, Paulo, but it's not right. Why they don't do anything? Yeah, listen, of course, if I see them kick adopted cats, at the moment I go there, it happened one time, and I say, okay, now I kick you. I want to see what you think. I wanted to make also kind of programs. Now, if someone wants to come to help with a veterinary and after say, okay, we spend the day here on the houseboat, we can make some tours together because this island is something incredible. So everybody, there's also young people that maybe study, they can also enjoy a little bit, the island and the swimming, the snorkeling, and the attractions, and the while also try to help us. Sometimes I always say if everybody would do a little bit, it would be so much easier.
And now a big shout out to Fernweh Chronicles, a beautiful travelling family who were staying with a local tribe and quickly realised their dogs were in desperate need of treatment for their skin disease. They enlisted our help, so we scoured Coron town for supplies to send back to the island.
We gathered some medicines.
We've got some supplies and we've got to get run over by a scooter. Please do check out their YouTube channel for incredible travel stories. And thank you also to Fishtoons Coron for donating supplies for strays. Links to both are in the description. Graham was impressed by the skills of the boat captains, keeping us dry on a windy and choppy day.
When we arrive, I can see all the white caps.
Very
Very
talented.
skilled.
No, glad to hear. Sometimes they make wet everybody. No, I say, guys, we are not going snorkeling. We go snorkeling. But these people are born in the water. So when they are 2 years old, they start going with their father with whole boat, fishing. So they can drive in the night without the instrument, no lights, nothing. They know where to go. It's incredible.
Paulo talks about writing a book about his life.
Already when I was working in Italy, I had some crazy life. So everybody before I left, they told me, you can write a book. When I was around the world, Everybody likes it. Usually, but now with this project, probably one day I should sit down and write 3 books in one.
And Graham asks how people might donate to Paulo's rescue centre.
Okay, so honestly, I never accept donation because for one reason. How money are used. You never know how much of the money really arrive where it should arrive, no? So now I do donation in different ways. For example, rice, I bring the rice. Medicine, I buy the medicine. I buy the medicine they need. So it's different sometimes. Some guests come and they buy some food. That is well.
So I share my dream with Paulo about bringing veterinary care to those animals and pet carers who desperately need it. We're in the Gili Islands in Indonesia, and I'm working with an organisation. So they bring vets from different countries to volunteer, and we're doing a trap neuter release. So we're getting the cats and neutering and treating and things.
Wow. It would be so useful if
we could connect.
Yes,
there's some logistics with a location and tables and medication and things, but I think there would be many vets who would come here and spend 1 week, 2 weeks, and do what needs to be done for the animals.
It would be amazing also because I don't have any experience in this big question, and it would help a lot.
Yeah.
In the Philippines, honestly, there are 7,000 islands. And he's a problem everywhere.
After meeting Paulo, I am more encouraged than ever to bring to fruition my dream of providing veterinary care and services to animals and pet lovers who are struggling to access veterinary services. And there is a giant squirrel just running down the tree behind you. Did you know that? This will have its own challenges with logistics, transport, supplies, medications, visas. But as Paulo says, if everybody does just a little bit, the world will be a better place. And if you want to help the animals, please adopt your next fur family member, volunteer for an animal rescue, or show some street dogs and cats a little bit of love. Or book yourself a stay at Paolyn Houseboats. Link in the description. But for now, we are off to buy our ferry tickets to El Nido. Please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do not miss the next episode. And this really helps us to help the animals.